Abdurrahman Ali. Yeah. Okay, start.
أصلا
Good afternoon, Professor. Good afternoon, Dr. Khalid. Let me introduce you about myself. My name is Abdurrahman Hadi Ali. I am a student of computer engineering. I get the chance, I'm lucky actually, to get the chance to do my training course in two organizations, at American School and at one DED. Most most of the majors of the university have.
Cannot listen. And we cannot record you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is better.
Okay, fine. Most of the university or the majors have their internship course after the 4 years. This is not out of the blue. There are important reasons to put a full course that's called internship. As we can see here, there are many reasons. I can see the most important reason is help students to make important career decisions. And actually, this what happened to me. And of course, there are many, a lot of reasons also. Now, let me introduce you about the first organization. I joined Al American School in the first week of June. Al American School is a private school in Sharjah, located specifically in Al Azra. It's founded in 2013 by the founder, Mr. Ali Shamsi. It has full education from the KG till the high school by the American curriculum. This is the program schedule I provided you before I joined the American school. Here I want to highlight this objective because in my mind I see the most important thing in my training there that I deals with different situations. Like here, parent complaints, IT related purchase. I deal with market when I purchase a lot of stuff for the IT like SSD, mouses, keyboard. This is good point which I learned there. Also giving training to staff. I remember I did for the reception staff. I learned them about Excel, Word, and how to print these applications. And of course, real-time application to work in a real environment, which is in all the organizations. Here, after the first week or the welcoming week, I started, as you can see, hardware level. I identified to the CPU parts. Here the motherboard with its fan, the power supply, the optical disc or the CD, and the RAM, of course. In my 10 weeks there, all what I did in the hardware level is just only changing the SSD with the original or the old hard disk in purpose of increase the speed or increase the storage. So only this what I did in the hardware level. I asked my supervisor about motherboard. If there is any component damaged, what can I do? He told me, in our situation in school, we replaced all the motherboard. We can't do anything with this. So only I work with the RAM. I used to work with cable Ethernet. I connected too many routers there in school. Sometimes when I crimp the Ethernet cable in two-sided, sometimes it could be failure in one side. So how can I know which side is the failure there? My supervisor helped me with that wire fault locator, that device, and taught me how can I use it. It made my life easy by connect the first side in this remote or this device, and the other side with a small device related to it, and I can know. Here the map is failed, so I have to crimp again, then it will be passed. So this way I can know this side is the failure. I remember one time a teacher was complaining to the HR about they detect because they detect money from her salary because she didn't do the fingerprint in the attendance machine. The HR communicated with us through the email, the IT section. They told us to upload or to send them the video that day and that time. This was my chance to prove myself to use this DVR remote desktop and upload the required video and send to them. My supervisor trusted me and I did it. In the school, they use two security systems, DVR and NVR. They do the same mission, but the difference is the DVR use the adapter and NVR didn't use, and it could be with wires or wireless also the NVR. So now they are going to move all the DVR system to NVR because it's more practical and it's better. It deals with IP address and the DVR deals with wireless. My supervisor was careful to involve me in his meetings with the administrations and the ceremonies, graduation ceremonies. I joined like 2-3 meetings and 2 ceremonies, one for KG and one for the high school, to show me the IT role in the meetings with the administration. What is the IT role in schools? Like we took decisions for next year. We want like more speed, more cameras, and the stuff needed for the school related to the technology. The limitation in school, there was something limited me, which is when the schools end up at the beginning of July, there was no more tasks for me because there is no students and there is no staff also. So I spent like 2 weeks just formatting and installing new Windows for the laboratory's computers. So when I felt that there is no more tasks, I decided to move to another organization to do more tasks, to learn something new. So I requested many organizations till the Ajman DED accepted my request uh, on the 22nd August. So Ajman DED was a part of Department of Municipality in Ajman. In 2011, there was a meeting decision to separate the DED from the municipality, and since that time, the Ajman DED is developed until now. In my mind, I see Ajman DED is the best governmental department in the Ajman. In the first week, in the first day specifically, they did interview for me. After the interview, they asked me whether I want to join the infrastructure team or development team. Honestly, I chose the infrastructure team because I like the hardware level more than software. So after the first day until the end of the week, I just watching my team doing their routine tasks. After the first week, they give me the big tasks, which is I worked on it till the week 16, which is to download or install Windows Server 2019. One of the team decided to give me another computer to do my research there, or to look how can I download and how can I use the Windows Server, or what is the difference between Windows Server and Windows 10. But I came with a better idea, which is to install a virtual box instead of second computer, which really they liked my idea. So they gave me the permission to install virtual box. After I installed virtual box, I installed the Windows Server there and start my work there. I was blending on YouTube and Google by supervision from my supervisor. He was checking on me every day what I did, what I will do. He asked to me to promote my domain. First of all, he asked me to do a fake domain or a demo domain just to know what is domain and what can I do on it. After that, I promote my domain because he asked me to promote my domain to the Active Directory, then to the domain controller. I was the domain controller for my domain, and I started to know what is the group policy there. I did many rules on the group policy, and that's it with the Windows Server. I didn't go deep. Windows Server is better than Windows 10 for the small business or also large companies because it's free of charge for them. It provides excellent security more than Windows 10 and doesn't need too much maintenance. Last 2 or 3 days, we have in our team network network engineer. He was busy in my duration there because the organization at 1DED was preparing for the ISO to the 20,000. So he was busy, he didn't give me from his time. But last 2 or 3 days, he showed me and give you one task to just write basic command to configure a switch. And honestly, I already took this command in network course, so that is nothing new for me. Just basic how to set username, password, telnet, SSH. That's just for last day. To conclude my 16 weeks training, I can tell you that I get benefit from my training definitely because I saw the world in the real environment. I learned from my courses here in university, operating system and network, one advanced network also, and I applied what I learned in the Ajman DD and American school also. Because as I discussed before moments, that I installed virtual machine, which I already took in operating systems, and I applied or wrote the commands in network one. And this is appreciation letter from Adman DAD, and this is recommendation letter also from American School, and that's it.
Dr. Khalid, are you here?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dr. Amir, if you have some question. Go ahead.
Okay, how much time you spent in each?
10 weeks for American School and 6 weeks in Adman DAD.
Okay, so 10 plus 6.
Yes.
Right, so these, the task did not explain well what you did in the Adman
My work was an infrastructure team. It was like domain administration. I installed virtual machine and I installed Windows Server on it, and I'm the
Where did
administrator.
you configure domain? or you use that?
Yes, I discussed that in the report. What specifically I did there, how I configured the domain, the network, the IPs, all of that. Here, just briefly, I went through it.
Okay. And about that school, what
Advanced
were you
school,
doing?
just basic things like configuring cameras, Ethernet cable, routers, help the parents, help the staff, giving them learning lectures, something like that.
Hmm. But I remember in the job description they were claiming more that they will cover more.
Yeah, but yes, I remember that. But because my period was the last weeks in the school, so the IT was busy, like in ceremony, preparing the sound system, preparing. So every day he was busy. So I didn't, he didn't deliver me all what he did.
Dr. Khalid, you have question? Dr. Khalid, you have question?
Professor, just one question on the school. What about their security for camera security and so on? How do you deal with this?
Honestly, the Kaspersky antivirus was like last month and it will expire. So he told me, sorry, the professor, should I look at the camera?
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you can. You can come.
Yeah, so my supervisor, the IT officer, told me to check the market and bring a new antivirus. So I bring to him like package 120 plus one server, 120 computer and one domain. Sorry, one server, I mean. So this is for the security of their computers.
And they use the camera only for monitoring or for some.
Okay. Good afternoon, professors. Today I'll be talking about my internship experience at a company called Razor Lab, which is an end-to-end monitoring solutions company. What is Razor Labs? Well, Razor Labs is a company that solely focuses on monitoring solutions, stuff like smart housing, smart warehouses, IoT or industrial IoT, stuff like interconnected sensors and natural energy, etc., etc. Like a lot of projects that it's all mainly focused on monitoring solutions. Basically, the core philosophy of Razor Lab is that they want to target the most cost-efficient solution for a tangible return on investment and a very enjoyable and easy experience on the monitoring software. And they also always try to implement an IoT implementation, and they always try to craft a solution on how to implement that IoT solution into the software. For the projects that I was involved in were the Civio project, the water sensor project, windmill monitoring project, and the geofence mobile application project, and I will be explaining them in detail, each and every one of them. So for the Civio project, what is Civio to be exact? Well, Civio is a real-time tracking company that allows you to track, for instance, people or containers, objects, whatever the case may be, and it always tracks in real time. It always shows you on the software on who's moving in, who's moving out, what's being transported in, what's being moved out, and stuff like that. But how does it work exactly? Well, first off, you order the components from the Civio website, and then they give you tabs, anchors, and a router. So basically, first off, you need to set up the routers in a certain topology, either in a square topology or in a zigzag topology. And they all have to be approximately 13, 15 meters apart, or else the wireless connection between them, it won't be very accurate and it's gonna turn off a couple of anchors. And then after you do that, you put the, you put the tags on either people or objects. And then after that, you connect the anchors to the router through an Ethernet cable, and then from which, after that, you can control them through the Civio software. As you can see here, they give you like an IP range, and then you can configure all the anchors to certain IPs. Also, for you to access this Silvio software, it's from the portal, like a portal website. So you have to configure your own like device connection, like IP configuration into 192.168.1.2. So then you can access the portal, and then you can configure however you want. For instance, you can turn off an anchor, turn on an anchor, and that's just a lot of basic stuff. And then after you connect the anchors, as you can see, this is a square topology, and as you can see on the inside, there's a pin, which shows either a person or object that's inside that warehouse. And then there's a pin also outside of the sense map, which shows that there's an object or a person that's outside of the warehouse. And that's how Studio actually works. It's just a warehouse tracking solution, real-time tracking, and it makes it very easy instead of just being manually there, tracking objects, tracking containers, tracking people there, who's working, who's not working. If there's a missing container, if there's a missing box, it just makes everything way easier. As for the water sensor project I was involved in, Dubai, Silicon Oasis City, at winter time, a lot of the time when it rains, there's like water level problems, like flood levels. And so clients came to our company, and then they contacted us about how we can solve the solution in a technology way. So the idea was that insert like a water sensor, which would trigger an alarm or would send a message to whoever is responsible when the water reaches a certain level. And then whoever that person is responsible, they will call any sewage team or call like any person responsible for taking the water out, and then they would do that. Which also provide like it just cuts a lot of effort, cuts a lot of time, cuts any potential dangerous like water level situations. It just makes everything way easier. As for the windmill monitoring project, I was very shocked that we could do this in the first place. I didn't know this was a thing. So this was a windmill project in Germany, where we had a client in Germany, and they owned a couple of windmills there. And how do we monitor windmills exactly? Well, in windmills, they have a certain voltage, they have a certain battery level, they have a certain wind speed, where if wind is too fast, it could be dangerous, or if it's too low, or too slow, then it won't be generating enough energy. Or how do we know if the wind level is good, and stuff like that. So that's the software that we developed, where we just looked online on what is basically the basic level or actually we got the information from the client about the voltage and the battery level and everything, and then we implemented that into our code. And then for the wind levels, we got that online from multiple sources, where it would show us the average level of wind, of normal wind that would generate energy. And then we also implemented that on our code. And how it would work is that if there was any change in everything that I mentioned, then again, it would send a message to the person responsible for the windmills, and then they can go on site and check what's wrong with the windmill. So we're basically a medium of communication in both the windmill project and the water sensor project. As for this project, I was really excited to work on this project because it was very, how do I explain? It was very code heavy, and I really wanted to do this project, but unfortunately I had only like 2 weeks maybe, or a week and a half to work on this, because then my internship period was over. But to give you a basic rundown of this project, they gave me a task where I need to make an application for geofencing, where I had to get longitude, latitude, which would work as the find my iPhone or find my phone application on anybody's phone, where it will give you like a certain location, it will give you a certain time, and it's very interesting on how it works, because I worked on it on Android Studio, which in the beginning was only for Android phones, obviously, but then I tried to implement it on the last few days. I tried to implement it on the iPhone device as well, but I didn't have enough time to work on it, obviously. But yeah, it was a very interesting project that I worked on, and there's one trick in where if you want to get the exact location in geofencing, you have to go to Google, and then they will give you like a certain key, and then you can implement that certain key into your code which will automatically give you your location from satellite devices. What did I learn from my internship experience? Well, I learned that being in that work field is what I truly desire, because learning the brains and learning the software and how everything works is basically what I love doing, what I love learning. And I also learned that teamwork makes a dream work. Teamwork is very, very important. Communication is very important. It also helps you like having a good having a good work environment, so you can solve problems way easier. There's no tension at the workplace and stuff like that. It was a very good experience overall. I enjoyed my time there. Thank you for listening to me, and if you have any questions, I'm ready to take them.
Okay, Dr. Khalid.
Oh, yes, Dr. Ali.
Yes.
Yes, so what I can see that is the company is specialized in designing, for example, security system, isn't it, or monitoring system, isn't it?
Yes, it's an end-to-end monitoring solution company where they implement like Internet of Things ideas into their software.
Okay, so they do the hardware and software, or only the software?
Basically, we had two teams. We had a hardware team and we had a software team. But I personally asked to be on the software team because that's what I like doing more is software. So I just asked to be on the software team, and that's what I did mostly.
So this means you get data from sensors, and after that you do something according to the application, right?
Yes.
So can you explain such applications which is you involved yourself in?
Well,
any application? Because you give overview as a whole about the company and what they are doing,
Yes.
the sensors and yes.
Okay. So basically, I'll use the water sensor project as an example.
So what you sensor?
The water sensor project as an example.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, we coded the water sensor in a way where if the water reaches like a certain level where it would get dangerous, then it would send out an automated message to like a certain party that is responsible for that area, which then they would call like any person that would come and take the water out. So that's how I was involved. I was involved in the coding. I was involved in, for instance, getting certain measurements. Like as you can see in the picture, we were exactly talking about the water project here, where I was giving out a couple of ideas that we could use and stuff like that.
What type of water?
What type of water? It's rainwater mostly, because it's a project based in the Dubai Silicon Oasis, and they said that there's a flooding problem every time in winter time, because when it rains in that area, for some reason, there's a lot of like the water reaches a certain level where it is.
So you see there's a blockage or something in the sewage system, the ground sewage system, and there's a rising in the water.
I assume so. Yes, that's the only thing I can think of, honestly. So I assume so. Yeah.
No, it's, because I'm assuming this must be since the project must be the problem is defined very good.
Oh no, it's because they were already working on this project when I joined the company, so I didn't really get every detail from the beginning to end. They just gave me the basic rundown and just asked me to like be a part of the coding problems and all of that.
Yeah, but how do you measure for example, the level of the water? That they put sensor in the street or what?
Yes, they put the sensor like, how do I say it? So they put like a pole, and then under the pole there's like a water sensor going underground. So, like you said, it reaches like a sewer system, and if it reaches to a certain point, then it sends an automated message.
So the sensors will send, for example, the level to some device and from you read it, right?
Yes, it sends out to it sends out as a text message on the mobile device.
A text message?
Yes.
Okay, so you receive as a text, for example, the level of water is this, right?
Yes.
And what the job of the software will do?
The software is basically just to measure the water level and also to send out the automated message. Because also, while implementing the software, you have to have basic mobile chips where they're all connected to, for instance, like one server. And then we'll send out like automated message as a text message to everybody.
So you get the message and after that just to route it somewhere, for example, to Dubai or to some other device, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, what language do you use for the project?
For the project, the languages that I used mostly were JavaScript, a bit of Python, and some language on Lua.
So you were writing scripts only in there to monitor things?
Yeah, basically. And for the also for this project, this is where I learned TypeScript. In the beginning, before working on this, I was following some tutorial online that my advisor gave me to learn, where I was making an application for, how do you say, digital books, where you click on any digital book that you want, and then it will show like descriptions, texts, certain font size, certain page size.
When you write scripts, for example, for the tagging or water level, so what you do with them? You get data, you process them, what
Yeah, because how do I say this? In our we have a certain system, we have a certain testing code, and then we run whatever data we get into that certain testing software or certain code testing, sorry, and then we see if it's how do I say it?
So your job is to collect data, to process data, and get into the
Yeah,
testing system.
my job is basically, how do I explain it? It was basically testing the data onto the code, doing like backend, more backend.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And how you were communicating from tag to router? And
This
then-
one.
Yes.
This one was a bit different. We did it. This we had to. How do I say it? We had to work on their software in the beginning, and then we connected through Ethernet cables. We connected because where is it? Sorry. The anchor is right here, the one with the antenna.
Mhm.
At the bottom of it, there's an Ethernet cable plug.
So you go and directly connect the Ethernet
Yeah,
and
from
download,
anchor to router, and then you connect them through one IP. Through
and
one.
you download the data.
Yeah, and then you get the data. For instance, right here, it shows you the status of the anchor. This is the anchor, and it shows you the status of the anchor. This means it's working. This shows the IP address, which was like it wasn't showing at the time, and this shows if the anchor needs updating.
So
or
how
not.
much time you spent on each of them?
On each of them, the Studio, I spent about a month and a half on this, because basically they gave me.
So month and a half of repeating the same things or what?
Of this? No, because we always kept trying out new things. For instance, we got the anchors working.
Yeah, just.
Not sure about it.
Hello? Yes? Yes? Yeah, I think 3 days. I think 2 days. 2 days. Weekend, I think weekend. Yeah, maximum. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, so what are you doing the routine work every time you have the script,
No,
right?
it's
So the script.
it's because on the first day when we first got the package, they gave us a certain router, and then you connect that router to the laptop so you can access the portal. There was a lot of issues doing that. Every time we tried to configure the IP address, it wouldn't work for some reason. They would say no connection every time. But then we figured out that we have to download virtual bots so that we can implement. I don't know how it works exactly because the supervisor came and helped us. But I think you have to implement, for instance, the router data onto the laptop, and then after that you connect to the software.
Just trying to understand what you mostly spend time on. Like, you have issue, for example, this issue that you are telling, maybe it takes 1 week or something.
Yeah.
Then some time to write the script.
Yeah.
After that, once it is running, then what you do with that?
After it's running,
Yeah.
you go to the sense map,
Yeah, okay.
and then after that, and out. Can I go to
So
that
you
site?
were then observing or what?
We kept testing and testing every time because, for instance, our like how do I explain it? When we got the results, at first it wasn't this big. It was only like this big, and then we were trying to figure out why it's working. We kept extending the anchors, and and all of that stuff. But then we realized that we have to set up the anchors on a roof or on a wall for it to actually gauge the entire distance of the room. But we couldn't really do that because everybody else in the office was busy. Some people weren't in the office, some people were in total working on the World Cup.
Same with other projects, like what you did, like most spent time on? And that water sensor, of course, it will have a whole kit with it, like microcontroller and everything.
Yes,
Which is transmitting it.
yeah, that's
Not
true.
only the sensor.
Yeah, but I wasn't responsible for that part because we had a hardware team
So you were just getting
on
the
the software.
data?
Yes, I was getting the data, gauging what the water level would be, for instance, what the automated message would be. And we had a lot of errors.
So again, my same question, like, was this a continuous process of repeating same things? Like just getting data and monitor that and generating alarms?
Basically, yeah, it was like that, yeah.
Yeah, so how much time you spent on this?
For this, I spent about like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, and like in the first week.
So what is the, what you spent the most time on?
Most time was, where is it? I'm not sure.
The first
Oh, Syria, yeah. Syria was probably the most time because there was a lot of errors going into it. Because like I said, I was the one that was, like they handed me the project and I had 2 interns working with me and I basically had to show them how to do it and everything. But
Okay.
I did like 90% of the work.
Dr. Khalid, do you have any question?
No, that's all, Dr. Ali.
Okay.
Okay, thank you guys so much.
Okay, thanks. You need to send me the forms, huh?
Yeah, I will, as soon as I'm